Welcome to Geek on Film with your host, Robbie Holmes. Hey there, folks. Welcome to episode 33 of Geek on Film. I'm Robbie Holmes, and I'm by myself today doing a quick recap of the Oscars because our other geek, John, has just become a dad. Congratulations to John and Megan on the birth of your amazing child. Can't wait to be baby Hosh. So excited for you both. I love you both so very much. So now we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about the Oscars and recapping what happened yesterday. So we're going to work through all the categories. I'm going to name the category, all the nominees, and then what I thought should have won, and then what I think will have won, and then we'll talk about what won. Okay. So we're going to start off with Best Documentary Short. In this case, it was The Elephant Whisperers, Haulout, How Do You Measure a Year, The Martha Mitchell Effect, and Stranger at the Gate. And in this case, I thought that we would probably end up with Stranger at the Gate as the winner. What I thought should win was Haulout, which is an amazing documentary. And where we landed was different than both of what I thought and what I wanted, which was with The Elephant Whisperers. A pretty amazing short documentary. It's very much it's on Netflix right now. I feel like a lot of people have gotten to see it. And it's really a nice documentary. I often feel like when I see a documentary, what I'm shooting for is to see something I am not aware of, to learn something in the process, and have it done in a well shot and very intelligible way. And Elephant Whisperers sort of falls into that space. I'm kind of surprised that we didn't end up with Stranger at the Gate. I felt like that was kind of a shoe-in based on the subject matter and where I thought it might go. So that's it for Best Documentary Short. We're going to move on to Best Animated Short Film. The nominees were The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, The Flying Sailor, Ice Merchants, My Year of Dicks, and An Ostrich Told Me That the World is Fake, and I Think I Believe It. So the winner was The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. And I had what I think should win as the My Year of Dicks, and what I thought will win was The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. I really loved My Year of Dicks. I thought it was such an amazingly personal and intimate story of the creator of the documentary's story from her life, from her own memoirs. I really thought The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, and I was correct, was this year's sort of it was like a no-brainer, given that it was based on this children's book, and it was actually like voiced by amazing actors and had a lot of support and was on Apple TV Plus. So it was treated very, very much so from the very beginning like it was a prestige short animated film. I really liked it, but it was a little saccharine sweet for my taste, but not a bad animated short. So congratulations. We'll move over to Best Live Action Short Film. So this one was a little hard for me because I was only able to see 2 of the actual nominated films this year. So the 5 that were nominated are An Irish Goodbye, A Value, La Pupille, Night Ride, and The Red Suitcase. So for me, I had this as, I thought An Irish Goodbye should win based on everything I had heard, even though I had not seen the film. But I thought what would win was La Pupille, and I was wrong. I should have continued to go down what I was hearing. An Irish Goodbye walked away with the statue tonight. Also may have had one of the most amazing moments on an Oscar stage where they got a chance to sing Happy Birthday to the lead actor of the film. A really beautiful and touching moment. I wish I had gotten to see it. It seems like an amazing film, and all the buzz around it is pretty amazing. So let's move over to Best Makeup and Hairstyling. For this film, we have All Quiet on the Western Front, The Batman, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Elvis, and The Whale. For me, I had All Quiet at the Western Front should win. Pretty amazing view of what war looks like. I thought what would win was The Whale, based on the fact that if it had any chance at all for Brendan Fraser to win Best Actor, I figured this was going to be the precursor that took us that way. And also, it's a pretty amazing transformation, and without that transformation, I don't think the story is able to be told. So congratulations to the crew of The Whale, who created an amazing allowed Brendan Fraser to tell the story that he told. So we'll move on to best costume design. This was Babylon, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. So the winner here was Ruth Carter for Black Panther, which is astounding. Her second win. It's a pretty amazing costume design. My thoughts were, I'm sort of part of the Babel Hive. I thought it should go to Babylon. I felt like the movie really doesn't work without the production design and without the costumes. Some pretty amazing performances, but those two really set the stage for what's going on in that movie. So that was my should win. Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris is the one that I thought would win. Films that are often about a different time period and specifically about the actual outfits being shown as part of the story. I felt like it was almost like having diegetic sound within the film. This is a movie about a woman going to Paris and getting couture made for her. So that was my take on where I thought it would go. But congratulations to Wakanda Forever's amazing Ruth Carter. Best music. So we're talking original score here, people. So All Quiet on the Western Front, Babylon, The Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and The Fabelmans. So this is a pretty amazing spread. I absolutely positively was leaning in so hard for Babylon here. I had it as should win and will win, and I was completely surprised that they went with All Quiet on the Western Front. So Volker, Bertelmann, congratulations. I think not acknowledging Justin Hurwitz for this film is surprising. I could have gone cynically and said they would go with John Williams, even though I don't think that the score for Fabelmans was absolutely astounding, even though he has done an amazing job in so many other films. I figured they may give it to him as just one last chance to maybe win an Oscar. But All Quiet's score was pretty amazing. It just wasn't anything close, in my opinion, to what Justin Hurwitz pulled off in Babylon. That movie is so driven by that score. So if the movie works for you at all, it's probably because of that. For those that didn't work, apparently anybody in the Academy, I guess I can't be surprised that they didn't go with Babylon. So let's move over to Best Original Song. Here we have Tell It Like a Woman from Diane Warren. Next we have Hold My Hand from Lady Gaga and Blood Pop. Lift Me Up by Rihanna, Ryan Coogler, and Ludwig Göransson. Natu Natu by M.M. Caravani and lyrics by Chandra Bose. And This Is the Life from Everything Everywhere All at Once. Ryan Lott, David Byrne, and Matiska. Lyrics by Ryan Lott. So this was one that I was pretty sure was going in one direction, and I was right. So I have Natu Natu across the board. Should win, will win, and the Oscars did the right thing and acknowledged RRR in the one and only one place it could be acknowledged this year. That movie, take a moment to say, was probably, I think it was my number 7 film of the year. I have shown it to a bunch of people. I love RRR. And I really hope we get to see more of this type of film making its way to America. I loved Natu Natu and its place in the story and what it was able to pull off and accomplish. The use of song and dance in how colonial society or colonization was happening, and the pushback of that, and how much fun that song is, and just a breath of fresh air in such a long film. It really kept moving forward an amazing story and kept us all sort of at the front of our seat or up in the aisles dancing. So I really loved it. Thank you so much to the Academy for getting that one right. Next up is Best Cinematography. So we have All Quiet on the Western Front, Bardo, A False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths, Elvis, Empire of Light, and Tar. This one, I went with, my should win was Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths. Probably a film I despised overall and did not like at all, but boy, it was the most beautiful film I saw all of last year. It's shot beautifully. The framing is unbelievable. The use of fisheye lenses to make it feel abstract and fantastical. Just a really amazing, amazing job by the cinematographer. I figured this would go to All Quiet on the Western Front. So that was my will win, and I was right. I felt like of all the films from last year, that are on this list that has such a unique and distinct style in the way that it moves through the world. I am kind of surprised that Tar didn't make it into my short list. It is such a crisp and tight film, and I think that has to do with cinematography. But I'm very excited to say I really loved All Quiet's cinematography, and it's such a beautiful film. It's hard to say that about a war film and about war itself, but great job by James Friend, who really brought to life this amazingly complex story. Let's move over to best visual effects. So we have All Quiet again on the Western Front. We have Avatar: The Way of Water. We have The Batman. We have Wakanda Forever and Top Gun Maverick. For me, I was all in on this award. Best visual effects, I thought, should go to All Quiet on the Western Front. Still in on the All Quiet steamrolling across this. Avatar: The Way of Water is what I thought will win, and in the end, I was right. I felt like the Academy was going to acknowledge Avatar, probably in its one and only one award here at Visual Effects. This team did a great job of creating an entirely new way of telling stories. So much of this film, I would say probably 100% of the frames are touched by a visual effects person in order to make them happen. Visual effects is what drives that film, so no surprises there to me. Now we will move on to best sound. So for me, our nominees here were All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Batman, Elvis, and Top Gun Maverick. So for best sound, I had All Quiet on the Western Front should win, and Top Gun Maverick will win. And in the end, I was correct. This is where we were able to see a little bit of love for Top Gun Maverick. The movie has so much of what is going on there is captured in the sound. Absolutely, the visuals are important, but think back to the sounds of the planes, like breaking the sound barrier and whipping across the land, rattling the guards building at the very beginning. So much of that is captured and captures the essence of what's going on in that movie. It's really impressive. So congrats to Top Gun Maverick's entire sound crew. So now we're up to production design. All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, Babylon, Elvis, and The Fabelmans. For production design, I had Babylon should win, Elvis will win, and the Oscars gave it to All Quiet on the Western Front. So for me, Babylon was the most astounding film when it came to production design. The setting up of the world, the setting up of the locations, all the film sets that they show us, the silent picture like island where they're doing like 8 films at once. Then you've got the first sound film that they're making where Nellie Leroy is trying to transition from being a star, a newly branded star in the silent film era, to a talkie, and how unbelievably uncomfortable that is. But that entire scene only works because we are so quickly set in the universe. So I'm sad to say that I was wrong on this one, but I think in the end, it's not me that was wrong. Congratulations to All Quiet for the best production design. That film is, I've gushed over it already. It's pretty unbelievable what they were able to pull off, but I would really have liked to see it go to Babylon. Now we're to best film editing. So here we go. The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Tar, and Top Gun Maverick. And I had Everything Everywhere All at Once should win, Everything Everywhere All at Once will win, and this is one where the Academy agreed with me. Everything Everywhere All at Once, Paul Rogers. We had just seen him win at the Indie Spirit Awards. Very exciting to see someone who really single-handedly helped tell the story, right? We often talk about the first draft of a story is the script, the second is the director, the third is the editor. In this case, we're telling so much story that this might be the win for most editing, but the editing that's done is so precise and perfect. that there's no complaints here for me on everything. I think it's such a beautiful film. I wish that we could acknowledge Tar. I think the editing in that film is one of the things that helps make it so taut and so austere and so stoic. Pretty impressive across the board. But Everything Everywhere, congratulations. We're up to Best Documentary. So in this, we have the nominees of All That Breathes, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, Fire of Love, House Made of Splinters, and Navalny. This is a category where I wasn't able to see all the films. I've been working through them. I had down All That Breathes as should win. That documentary was moving and beautiful. The story of two men and their ability to save the lives of an awful lot of these carnivorous birds known as the black kites, and how important they are to the ecology of the city in India. Really powerful film. Really loved it. For me, I don't know if I've said this on the podcast before, but a documentary is one of those films that I want to tell me something new that I am not aware of, to do it in a clear and concise way and make me care about the subject matter. And I feel like for me this year, it was All That Breathes that did that the best. So I felt it should win. What I thought would win was Navalny. Navalny is this like extremely crisp, almost hero telling story of Navalny, the man, and who and what he stands for. So there's definitely some myth making in this documentary, but boy, it was an astounding doc. You feel like you're a fly on the wall catching something that you shouldn't be a part of. And congratulations to the documentary team that made Navalny and the Academy for awarding this amazing film. It was definitely of the films I saw, my second favorite documentary this year. Pretty awesome and also available. So if you want to watch it, it's on HBO Max. We're up to Best International Film. This one was pretty great. We have All Quiet on the Western Front, Argentina 1985, Close, EO, and The Quiet Girl. For my take, I had down the juggernaut that is All Quiet on the Western Front. This film should win, would win, and did win. I was moved by this film. I think it was either my second or third favorite film of the year. Unbelievable from soup to nuts in this film. I am so blown away by it. It's a movie I don't know that I want to revisit because of the subject matter, but I was moved by it from the moment it started to the moment it ended, and I'm still feeling the impact of the film today. We'll now jump over to the Best Animated Feature Film. This one is one that started the night off, so we got a chance to see a really great lineup, one of the best lineups, in my opinion, for animated feature film in a long time. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, The Sea Beast, and Turning Red. I think we have 4 absolutely astounding films and 1 really good film this year in this list, so no real complaints from me. For me, I had should win as Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. I fell in love with this character long before the film, and I cannot believe the amazing film that they made, which is such a story of family, of community, of love, of transition, of loss. I love it. Everybody should watch it. I'm lucky enough to own a 4K version of it that I bought directly from A24. The one I thought would win was Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, and I was right in this case. This movie was the little animated film that could. It's unbelievable. It's been worked on, I think, since 2015. I love the film. I was completely moved by it. I think the voice acting in it is unbelievable. But boy, the stop motion animation, the animators, the amount of work that went into this film, and the storytelling that was created to make this film happen. I'm so glad that we have films like this being made, and I am so glad that Guillermo has refocused a little bit of his time on animation. This film is great. I think that there's no real losers in this batch. I'm a little sad that Turning Red was in this year's list, because I feel like in most years that movie would have won hands down. Unbelievably beautiful film. And Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was one of the last films I saw of the animated bunch, and I was so impressed with it. If you haven't seen it, give it a real chance. It bounces back and forth between 3D animation to a more 2D stylized animation during the fight sequences, There's real pathos in the character. You get a chance to see one of the most scary villains in an animated film, in the Wolf. It's such a great film. Normally, I am a big believer in let voice actors do the acting. I cannot believe what they pulled off in this film with non traditional, like your average feature actor being these voices. But you've got Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek and Florence Pugh and all these amazing actors that are pulling off this unbelievable little film. I'm excited to see if the next film in the Puss in Boots film series goes back to the Shrek world, which is where it seems at the end. But give yourself a chance. It's now on Peacock, I think. Go watch it. It's pretty awesome. We're moving on to some writing, folks. Best adapted screenplay. We've got All Quiet on the Western Front, Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery, Living, Top Gun Maverick, and Women Talking. So this is where I hoped and prayed that we would acknowledge Sarah Polley. I had down Women Talking as should win and will win. And thank you, Academy, for giving us a chance to hear Sarah Polley talk about this film, talk about her experiences, and shining a spotlight on the work that she's done. I think Women Talking is like my second or third favorite film of the year. It's one of the most important things I saw all last year. And I'm really glad we got a chance to acknowledge it in some way, shape, or form, even though I feel like there's a giant hole in the way that they handled the Best Supporting Actresses. There's at least 3 or 4 Best Supporting Actress candidates in this film. But thankfully, they at least gave Sarah Polley a nod for the Best Adapted Screenplay. Best Original Screenplay. We're moving on. Martin McDonagh for Banshees of Inisherin. Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinhardt for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Steven Spielberg and Tony Kushner for The Fablemans. Todd Field for Tar. And Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness. So from my perspective, this is where we're at. I had us at original screenplay of Everything Everywhere All at Once should win, and that Tar would win. And in the end, I was wrong. It went to the Daniels. I felt like Todd Field, this was the one and only one guaranteed place they would acknowledge Tar. I was really surprised they didn't go this direction. I figured that if this film was going to get any acknowledgement at all, it would come here, with the possibility of Cate Blanchett. But congratulations to the Daniels. They wrote this amazingly moving, empathetic, and weird screenplay, and they were able to bring it to life. What an unbelievably surprising and awesome Oscar win for Best Original Screenplay. Here we are, Best Supporting Actress. We've got Angela Bassett for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Hung Chow for The Whale. Kerry Condon for Banshees of Inisherin. Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And Stephanie Hsu, Everything Everywhere All at Once. So from my perspective, I had Best Supporting Actress should be Stephanie Hsu and would be Jamie Lee Curtis. I feel like Stephanie Hsu was the engine that drove that film. But I felt like it was very possible we were going to acknowledge Jamie Lee Curtis for her entire career in this Oscar. Not my favorite choice. She's an amazing actress. I'm very glad that she has an Oscar. I'm sad to see it not go to either Stephanie Hsu or Kerry Condon or Angela Bassett, to be honest. Or Hung Chow. Hung Chow, I like to think that her nomination is not just for The Whale, but for The Whale and The Menu. Also, the 4 or so performances from Women Talking we could have slid in here. This is a very controversial win from my perspective. But congratulations to Jamie Lee Curtis, the number 1 cheerleader of Everything Everywhere All at Once, and also an amazing genre filmmaker for her entire career. Best Supporting Actor, we have Brendan Gleeson for The Banshees of Inisherin, Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway, Judd Hirsch for The Fablemans, Barry Keoghan for Banshees of Inisherin, and Ke Kwan for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I had Ke Kwan for Should Win and Will Win. I am so glad that he won this award. Congratulations to him, and good job, Oscars, for making this choice. The sad part is, in any other year, I would have very, very happily given it to Barry Keoghan. I feel like his performance in Banshees of Inisherin is one of the most amazing, sad, evocative, and devastating performances I've ever seen. And Brian Tyree Henry has absolutely solidified himself as an Oscar nominated and Oscar contending actor. He is so good in this film. One of the podcasts I listen to has defined him as like maybe the most dynamic listener we have in Hollywood. He makes you care so much about what someone else is saying. What an amazing film, Causeway. Him and Jennifer Lawrence really, really pull off some amazing storytelling. But let's go back to our winner, Ke Huy Quan. Amazing. So much fun to see this man get a chance to come back to cinema, to be in front of the screen, to get a chance to play this amazing character. And he gave nothing but love in every one of his speeches, just personified. I'm so glad for him that he was able to win this amazing award. We're moving over to Best Actress. This is a very complicated category, in my opinion. We've got Cate Blanchett for Tar. We've got Ana de Armas for Blonde. Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie. Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans. And Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. So this is one where I went back and forth on where I thought we were going to land. So I have Cate Blanchett should win. I felt like the work she did in Tar was singular. I don't know that there's a single other actor or actress that could pull off that role. And boy, is the entire movie on her shoulders. But I felt like we were going to head over to Michelle Yeoh. This woman deserves this award. She's worked so hard for it. She's so amazing in this film. We get a chance to see all aspects of her and her career and everything she can pull off. So no complaints with this win because the Oscars went the same way that I thought they would. Michelle Yeoh winning Best Actress is fantastic, not just for her, but for the film and for all of us. We get a chance to hopefully see more films like Everything Everywhere All at Once. And hopefully we get a chance to see more Michelle Yeoh because of this win. Over to Best Actor. We have Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Paul Mescal for Aftersun, and Bill Nighy for Living. So in this case, I had us heading into this with Colin Farrell as should win and Austin Butler as will win. I felt like Colin Farrell had put in amazing work last year between After Yang and his work in The Batman and in this film, Banshees of Inisherin. So it was almost like you could have gotten a career's worth of work not acknowledged for 1 year of work. So I was surprised when we didn't see that happen. He's also been Captain Charming on the entire award ceremony. I figured we had pretty good chance, and I felt like I was leaning towards him the whole way. I figured we were going to acknowledge Austin Butler here. I really felt like Austin Butler and his embodiment of Elvis and the film that he was a part of wouldn't work without him. Again, we're in a situation where I don't know that there's a lot of other actors today that could play that character, like Cate Blanchett and Tar. I don't know that there's another actor out there today that could slide into the blue suede shoes and make us believe. But in the end, we have walked away with Brendan Fraser getting his Oscar for The Whale. I've talked about this film a little bit earlier because of the makeup. I think that Brendan Fraser was the best part of this movie. He's so empathetic and caring. He creates such a warm and sad character. What he's doing in this film is different. It's sort of the only thing I walked away with positively from The Whale. So congratulations to Brendan Fraser. His story is sad. I hope this is a nice uptick for where he's going next. We're moving to Best Director. We have Martin McDonagh for The Banshees of Inisherin, the Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness. For me, I had Best Director as should be and will be the Daniels, and thankfully the Academy agreed. This is an amazing win. Let's take a second and step back. Todd Field, Martin McDonagh, Steven Spielberg, and Ruben Östlund were defeated by the Daniels. These two men have made an amazing film that has changed the way that people think about Oscar-nominated films. So we can just roll right into our Best Picture lineup. All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, and Women Talking. And won't you know it, I had it as will win and should win Everything Everywhere All at Once. I am such a believer in this film. I really felt like this was where it was going all along. I cannot believe that we walked away with this amazing award for this film. It's up against some amazing competition that Daniel's created, and with the team of visual storytellers and with sound, this film that I think is going to be looked at for years to figure out what an Oscar film can be today. I'm very impressed with this film. It was my favorite film of last year. I think the Oscars got it right. I'm very happy to have been correct this time. So that's it for our recap of the Oscars. And when I say our, I mean it in the royal term. Again, congratulations to John and Megan. I'm so excited to meet Baby Hosh. And also wanted to take a quick moment to note our friends at the Scene Snobs and the Snobby Awards. We were lucky enough to be nominated for 2 awards, Best Pop Culture Podcast and Best Entertainment Podcast. We weren't able to win. This is our first nomination with the Snobby Awards, but we're so grateful for the opportunity to be a part of that. And that's it for me this week, folks. It's a shorter episode because it's just me and we're doing a quick recap. Hopefully next week, John and I can come back together and review Scream 6. I was able to see it this weekend. We will hopefully have an episode out shortly, but John's world is a little bit different now. We're happy to have him whenever we can. So thank you so much for listening. Please rate and review us wherever you found us. We're Geek on Film Com on Twitter and Instagram. I'm Robbie Holmes, Robbie the Geek Everywhere. We're so happy to have had you listen through this with us. And on to the next award season. Now it begins again. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. This has been a Geek on Film podcast. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.